tempo and just how easy it looks when he does it. I'm sure his grip pressure's on the softer side. He had a way to measure it.
First round lowest score to par in U.S. Open history, 7 under. Nicklaus and Weiskopf in 1980, they shot 63. Par was 70. Par now, for the first time in a U.S. Open since 1992, is 72. And Ricky Fowler, if he pars out, is looking at a 7 under opening round in a U.S. Open, and it's been fun to watch.
It has been fun to watch. He's picked this place apart, you know, kind of like a surgeon maybe getting ready to take on a open heart or something. He's just gone about it like he, you know, meant to do it. And execution's a big part of what he's accomplished today. But he's got a game plan. It seems to be working, and he's got to go out there and execute it. That's a perfect-looking scorecard right there, Bradley.
Well, you said early in the telecast that a good player does 3 things well. They drive the ball well, they wedge it well, and they putt well. And if you look at Ricky Fowler's stats and his all-around stats, he's number 1 all-around. He's the best driver all-around. And he's the only top 20 player in the world, depending on which putting stat you use, it's in the top 10 in putting. And it's a perfect recipe, Paul, here for a U.S. Open, a guy that's hitting all the fairways, or most of them, and draining all the putts.
There's Fleetwood now with a par putt at 8. And gets it to stay at 5 under, 2 shots back.
You know, staying on Fowler, too, he won the Honda Classic this year by 4 shots, you know, dominated there. It's hard to do. It's hard to win at home. It's hard to win a major championship. And if there is one flaw, if you looked at stats, it's been his final round scoring average is high. It's a little high, but getting off to this good start is kind of reminding me of Tiger Woods in 2000 at Pebble, how much better he's playing. Everything just looks so solid about the way he's striking the ball, controlling his temperament, and making the putts.
You've got to hit this shot right here on the button to have any chance to get it close. 175 yards to the hole, slightly uphill off this perfect tee shot. Oh, he just hit a moon shot here. Oh, a little unlucky, and that will stay, though.
15th time over 17 holes he's hit a green in regulation.
You know, he's been emotionless today, I feel, as well, which is something that usually bodes well for U.S. Open players. Nothing seems to have gotten under his skin, or he's not gotten overly excited.
Here's Spieth's shot. It's his 4th shot into the par 4.
Good shot there by Jordan from 108. Couldn't get it out of the fescue. Long fescue his first attempt. Had to just chop the 3rd one out.
Well, it's amazing how that some of the fescue's so thick closest to the fairway. These irrigation lines, they reach just into the edge of the tallest fescue. Some of it's the thickest, so these players are a little aggravated. Some of the players that have missed, it's just off, being in the most difficult spot.
Second shot for Patrick Reed at the par 3 6th.
Well, you got to believe he was thinking about making that. Now he's left himself one of those little rascals. And that's no fun. Downwind, left to right break, downhill. That'll be a tough putt.
Well, Gene Sowers at 18. This is birdie try at the par 5. 632-yard hole.
You know, I saw him on the range with his caddy Kirk Rothrock, and Gene was a little contrite being here. He knows this is, you know, overmatched course. I think if he was at Marion, he'd be a lot happier golfer than here, but still a badge of honor to represent the senior tour, win that senior open, and be out here at Erin Hills.
It was a heck of an achievement for Gene Sowers. I loved watching it. We all did. Now we got this little bye hole, the 9th, the shortest hole on the course, 150 yards, but it has all their attention. Trouble all around it, Brad.
Well, you know, when we say bye hole thing, it was built as kind of a 19th hole. There was another hole, the Dell hole, which is a par 3 that is now removed from the golf course from the architects. Watch this little tracer here and a gorgeous little swing by Fleetwood. But this was going to be that kind of betting hole. You know, solve the have matches, and Fleetwood's done a nice job there playing a shot right to the center of this screen. Right before him, Brian Harman. This is a lefty. This is a little bit of a more difficult shot, playing this wind off your back. But you know what? I think the players, they're going to like making threes on this hole by the end of the week. 4 threes here. You've done yourself well. Only 65% of the golfers hitting the shortest par 3 in regulation. Now back to the 5th hole. Dustin Johnson for birdie. Johnson, see if he can make a couple birdies coming in. You have to think with what history would show you that a lot of times the first round of the lowest scores in the golf course can show its teeth. And can't get frustrated. But it's hard when you look at all the red numbers. There's a lot of them up there. Especially when the early rounds are showing the most successful scores.
Here at 14, it's Ernie Els for birdie.
And this is slow and should swing pretty good to the left. A nice effort.
Ernie shot 32 on his first 9, made 4 birdies. Really a good start, a good showing. International players with multiple wins in a U.S. Open all time, and he's on the list with Smith, Anderson, and Retief Goosen, who did not qualify to make it into this 2017 U.S. Open, else winning in '94 and '97. Here's J.B. Holmes at 16. This for birdie to get to 2 under par.
JB had it all the way to 4 under early in his round and stumbled a bit coming in, but that's a nice putt for JB Holmes. Got the power to take this place apart.
His best finish in a U.S. Open as he plays in his 8th is tied for 17th at Pinehurst in 2014. Here's Patrick Reed now for par. You saw the chip almost fall. Now this to stay at 5 under.
That was always going to be a hard putt. He's kicking himself for chipping it that far past the hole.
Now we're back on 5 where Spieth has this what would be an incredible bogey.
Brad, Jordan hasn't made anything today. That hole has got to look a little bit like a thimble, but the rest of the group really isn't giving him any mojo either. Nobody's making anything. It's just over 6 feet.
How's the wind out there, Steve? We can hear it blowing.
Yeah, you can hear it. It's not as bad as it was when they played 2 and 3. But there's a little bit of a valley here, Brad, a little sheltered. Tempo of the strokes a little quicker than I think we're accustomed to seeing it. Just maybe got a little anxiousness.
He hit that one a little bit softer and got it to go.
He misses as many putts as he's missed today. Sometimes you want to wish him in. That's a good bogey putt for Spieth. Now we go to Fowler at the 8th.
Yeah, straight uphill putt once again. Should just move a little bit right to left.
Perfect speed, Julie.
Yeah, perfect speed. I have to say, guys, I've watched a lot of golf in my lifetime, and his ball striking today has probably been one of the best I've seen.
Well, Ricky tied for 2nd at the Memorial, that rain-soaked finish. Then he missed the cut in Memphis. He got here a little earlier than he thought he would. Said he hit it well in Memphis, but just couldn't get anything to fall.
Let's see if Brian Harman can get in with 66. Looks good. Boy, he's hit the hole a lot. Well, they'll be hoping for 67 now. They'll have that little tester back up the slope. But boy, like Fowler, Harman's ball is hunting the hole on almost every single putt that he's hit. Well, I always like to make a putt like this in the last hole. Make it sleep a lot better, doesn't it, Paul?
Oh, yeah. I think he was really shocked that that ball went that far by. A little bit of a power lip, maybe.
Here's Reed's tee shot on 7. We saw Fowler hit 3-wood here. Reed likes to draw it. I was watching him on rain yesterday. He lost a lot of balls left and right. Oh, he missed the fairway, but he missed the tallest fescue. I don't know why the marshal's putting that flag there. His ball is a little ahead of that. Toughest driving hole, I thought. It was so hard to pick out a good target there.
Here's Snedeker with a birdie try at 18.
25 birdies at 18, 635 yards downwind. These guys are reaching with 3-wood. It's the easiest hole on the course today. 2 eagles.
This is the putt Dustin Johnson had, missed a little short and right. And I can guarantee you, Snedeker will hit it with more pace.
Well done for a 36-year-old who has 4 top 10 finishes as he plays in his 11th United States Open Championship. Right behind that green is the 9th green, and we'll pick it up with Fleetwood for birdie.
You know, Joe, Tommy Fleetwood's played pretty good this season. Top 3 finishes 4 times. He won in Abu Dhabi. I think we're starting to see these greens dry out a little extra run out.
It really makes you think that there, and we'll see if the numbers support this, that there is going to be a distinct advantage having gone out this morning as compared to this afternoon here at Erin Hills.
Well, there almost always is. Very rarely do the guys in the morning have it tougher than the guys in the afternoon, but I can say that it has blown all day, and unless it freshens, it'll be fairly even, I'm guessing.
Well, and the forecast, Paul, was for southerly winds all day long, only to reach 10 miles an hour, and they were up early. They're certainly more than 10 miles an hour right now.
But you think about how different this golf course is played during the week in the practice rounds. I mean, last weekend on Saturday it was blowing 35, 40 miles an hour out here. So you've had so many variances how these holes have played into with crosswind. It's a test for these guys seeing this golf course for the first time.
Absolutely, and that's a big part of the challenge, and that's part of what the USGA does to you. They pick courses where you really have to be clever in the way you map it out and figure it out. That's a big part of the challenge. And, oh, what a putt for Brian Harman to close, Brad.
He made a few of those par putts coming in on his backside here, and nice finish for him. And like we said, you know, the psyche that you get from saving a par there on the 18th hole, a lot of times on the first hole when you can make a putt like that for a par, it can establish your round or even establish your week.
Now here at 6, the par 3, Jordan Spieth. No bogeys on his card. His first 12 holes, he's gone bogey.
Easily the hardest hole on the course, only 2 birdies. And you'll see why. That actually hit on the face of the sprinkler and slowed that down. Just about every ball that's hit there has gone over the green. And that's going to be as close as you can get. But I spoke too soon. It's okay. I've seen one ball closer than that I can recall.
Powerful J.B. Holmes. Let's see his touch here on 17 for birdie. Ball was always left.
You know, Joe, back to the golf course and what we were saying, they have seen a variety of winds here, which is kind of nice if you're trying to prepare. But it is really difficult to kind of figure this place out. Strategically, there's only 4 or 5 decisions. And for the most part, everybody's going to do the same thing every day on every hole. 4 or 5 holes maybe where it's different than that. Nice putt save there for Fleetwood. And what a good round for Tommy Fleetwood. Guy who had completely lost his skills a couple of years ago, went back to his old coach, and now Tommy Fleetwood right there. There's 2 shots behind Ricky Fowler.
And you know, Paul, having Fleetwood and Harman playing together, I'm sure they fed off each other a little bit, both 5-unders, and Fleetwood's only his 2nd U.S. Open. Great start. Now back here on the tee, Fowler.
Yeah, we got Ricky. He's got 130 front, 150. He wants to fly this thing about 138. It's a right to left crosswind. So if he just wants to throw it out there to the right a little bit, let the wind take it.
Can't imagine this is any more than a wedge, Julie.
That's correct, Paul.
Yep, catches the fringe, saves it from going down that little slope there. And Ricky Fowler, top the leaderboard at 7 under, 2-shot lead. We just saw Harman and Fleetwood finish here on the short ninth, the bye hole. U.S. Open at Erin Hills.
The U.S. Open is the ultimate test of golf.
You know, Brad, as you said, it is coming off that first cut. And it's, you know, hard to know what it's going to do off that first cut. But he's not wasting any time. It should move just about a foot right to left.
It's a little bit uphill. Yep, just had a hair too much speed there. Ricky Fowler will have that putt left for 65. See him doing his cleaning up there.
Here's Jordan Spieth for birdie at the difficult par 3 6th, hardest hole on the golf course.
Straight uphill, breaking left, and it's left all the way, and he clubbed it. I have to figure something out this afternoon.
Now John Rahm, see if he can make a birdie here on the ninth.
Yeah, he made a nice par putt on last hole. Let's see if he can roll this in and get him a little momentum for tomorrow.
Such an emotional player, you know. If you're going to win a U.S. Open, you got to be able to contain himself a little bit better than he did throughout the round.
I agree with you, Brad. Colossal. A lot of people loved him. I wouldn't say a colossal favorite. Obviously, DJ and Rory are the favorites, but everybody that is anybody in this game expected him to come out here and play well today, and he just wasn't able to do it. He got off to a rough start, and it was actually more emotional than you need to be. These tournaments, you got to be really unflappable.
That was Koepka for birdie at 18, and now quite a bit left for his par. His best finish in the U.S. Open as he plays in his fifth is a tie for fourth at Pinehurst 3 years ago. Last year tied for 13th at Oakmont. Tied for 18th at Chambers Bay. Back to 9.
There's Hideki Matsuyama, number 4 in the world.
Yeah, he had a great shot in here. He hit a pitching wedge in here. He's been all over the course today. His ball striking has not been what we're used to watching. So could roll this in and only be 1 over. I think he'd take it.
If you had to pick apart a guy or a player's game, this is typically the spot you would. And like Julie said, there you see a little rushed stroke and disappointing putt there. Jon Rahm and Matsuyama had to watch Ricky Fowler's fantastic round. And that makes it even feel worse. So now Fowler with his little tester.
Yeah, I think I would have been lagging this putt, but he's so solid on these 3-footers. Right up the hill, shouldn't do much.
His lowest round previously in a major was 66. 6 under. Now opening round, 65.
And that ties the lowest score in relation to par in the first round in U.S. Open history. Joining a list with Nicklaus and Weiskopf.
Tell you what, it's hard to shoot 7 under par when your playing partners are playing bad, and one of them, you know, a little bit emotional. Obviously, Ricky and Rahm get along quite well, but tomorrow will be a big day for Ricky Fowler.
Such a likable guy. Rolled in here early after missing the cut at Memphis. And he was pleased with the way he hit it, even in that tournament. Tied for second at Memorial, and
his mother there, his parents.
You think about Sports Illustrated, they've run out of paper proclaiming the next great hope in the game of golf with these young guns, and Fowler has been certainly on that list for a long time. But he has yet to break through at a major. Maybe this is his week as the U.S. Opens in Wisconsin for the first time.
Well, he just put himself in the pressure cooker.
And now he joins this short list. Lowest score to par in first round history in a U.S. Open. 7 under, a 65 for Ricky Fowler.
I remember watching that round, Paul, at Baltusrol. Players were able to stop their ball in the first round, a little softer conditions, and we'll see what happens the rest of the week. If,
hey, look, man, the score,
any rain, it'll only get more difficult.
Right. And the scores are, you know, they can get low in U.S. Opens and major championships first day, but then that pressure comes on. I remember Gil Morgan was 12 under after 3 rounds at the U.S. Open in 1992, also a par 72, Pebble Beach that year. But Tom Kite won that tournament at -3. So while Gil got it to 12, 3 under was the winning score. And you know what happened? It happens.
You know what else, Paul? When we opened up the show, there were 19 or 20 guys under par, and it stayed pretty close to that. Only 22 guys an hour under par. And a long walk here for Ricky Fowler, a long, happy walk to the scorer's hut where he really has to pay attention and sign that scorecard, correct scorecard.
His girlfriend Allison, former pole vaulter, collegiately. Hand in hand they walk to sign that scorecard. 7 birdies, no bogeys. Hit 12 of 14 fairways, 15 of 18 greens, 27 putts. Any way you want to carve it up. Historic opening round. U.S. Open history, tying Nicklaus and Weiskopf. Just brilliant playing. Here at 15, it's Ernie Els for par.
Oh, what a great save for Els to stay at 4 under. This very short and a crafty little par 4. See that card, 4 under going out. All pars on the second 9.
Now at 18, it's Brooks Koepka for par. Strong.
That's an important putt. Reachable today, the 18th, and the easiest hole on the course so far. Good save.
Now the par putt for Jordan Spieth at 6.
First putt got away from Jordan. He pulled it to second. He hit it, but good solid second putt. He's going to have some work to do when he gets done today.
There's J.B. Holmes' second shot at 18.
Remarkably, going at the green with an iron on a 635-yard hole. And it's not downwind anymore, or straight down at least. It's left to right down. 2 beefy pokes.
You can show your love for the game with official U.S. Open merchandise. View the entire 2017 collection of U.S. Open merchandise online at usgashop.com.
Here's Patrick Reed squatting down, lining that ball up, getting ready for this 30-footer for birdie here on number 7. Like to jump into that group there with Harman, Fleetwood, and Koepka. 5 under. They've all had strong finishes to their round. Up the hill. Even if it's 30 feet here, it's a chance. Looks good. He liked it. He's a demonstrative player. He'll be around here.
Here at 14, it's Max Ford. Now back to 16.
This is just ever.
139 yards. He's actually laying up with his 3-wood because it's so back into the breeze, which just picked up.
Did he drive it or 3-wood off the tee?
He drove it just back into the breeze today.
Well, Steve, and that caught the bunker.
Hit right in the left bank going into it. How far did that just go? Just flew that 260 into the wind. I thought it was just absolutely perfect. Maybe 5-6 short of it, sticking.
Game's hard enough because your bad shots turn out bad. good shots turned out bad. Ugh.
You remember his second shot at Chambers Bay and how mad he got there on the par 5 18th. Now Keimer.
307 back into the breeze for Martin. More prudent play with the iron lane up.
Kind of shaking my head here thinking how can you get mad hitting 260-yard 3-wood into the wind. Ends up in the bunker like that. He's going to have a really tough shot. Now Dustin Johnson second.
I'm short of that 220.
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Can you get it there, Steve?
Well, he's got iron now. He's 298. He hit his drive 304 back into this breeze. I really don't think he's attempting to go for it with this iron. Surely not 298. This is a layup down the right.
Now you see the bunch of bunkers there, a little puzzle. You got to kind of keep it to the right of that one that's in the center, asking for a cut. You can see his ball over there, the left rough, but it's in that little first cut, that 1-yard swath. And we saw Westwood's wedge shot. See if he can make this for birdie to get to 4 under. Said it earlier in the show, Westwood works with the same putting coach, Phil Kenyon, that works with Tommy Fleetwood, Henrik Stenson, Rory McIlroy. He hit it hard enough. There's a lot of slope around this cup.
23-time winner on the European Tour. Done since 2014. Just 2 wins on the PGA Tour. Last was in 2010. Number of 10 Ryder Cup teams. And as Zinger's been saying, 9 top 3 finishes in majors. No wins. Let's go down to Shane Bacon with our leader.
Yeah, here with Rickie Fowler. And Rickie, I'm not sure if you knew this or not, but it was 8 years before you were born the last time somebody opened a U.S. Open with a round of 7 under par. Only 3 players have done it. Nicklaus, Weiskopf, now Rickie Fowler. Did you see 65 out there?
I mean, it was there just because of the softer conditions. The wind continued to pick up, which didn't make it easy. And really had to just put your ball in the fairway as much as possible, greens, and eliminate mistakes. And that's what made 65 possible.
Well, yeah, and your driving accuracy stats this year have really, really improved. You're finding a lot of fairways. We talked so much about this golf course being a bomber's paradise. You found 12 of 14 fairways. You've been driving it great. What has changed with your driving to allow you to find these fairways and get the ball in play?
Well, I think something that's helped me really started in March or so. I went to a little bit shorter driver. I've always played a little bit of a short driver. I was at 44.5 before, and actually I worked on a shorter driver going into the Honda where I ended up winning, and then since then I've been in a 43.5, which is basically an 1.5 inch under standard. And it may look normal in my hands because I'm a little shorter, but it feels comfortable to me, and it fits the rest of my clubs and the transition through the whole set. But it's also allowed me to feel a little bit more comfortable off the tee and not giving up a whole lot of distance.
Well, Paul Azinger mentioned, you know, those 3, 4, 5 footers. You always give it a lot of authority when they go in. These greens at Erin Hills are perfect. How much does that play into your hands, given that you like to ram those in the back of the hole?
Well, I tried to not hit the back of the hole too hard on a lot of putts today, just because, you know, even though the course is soft, the greens are rolling, you know, they're perfect and they're at a good speed. So, you know, especially if you get something that's downwind or downhill, you don't want that thing high-sided or missing the hole and going 3, 4, 5 feet past pretty quickly. So I tried to, you know, especially some of the dicier putts, I tried to just let them take the break and, you know, ultimately make, but I didn't want to put myself in a position where I had something longer coming back.
Well, a look at that round of 65 from Rickie Fowler, 7 under par. We'll start here at the 11th. You started on the 10th hole.
Yeah, this is a 9-iron from the middle of the fairway, set up by a great drive, and really good number. Just hit a fairly stock 9-iron in there.
Rickie, the 11th and 12th, I would say, kind of the meat of the golf course. You were able to birdie 11, and then you get to 12. Hit a great shot out of that left rough to here.
Yeah, I didn't exactly hit my line off the tee, and got away with the hole playing back into the wind, being in the first cut, playing a little bit of a jumper, and the softer conditions allowed me to hit that shot. You know, later in the week that may not be possible, and so was able to take advantage of that.
Now here at the second.
Second, I mean, they kind of gave you, with 1 and 2, some great opportunities early in the round, this being our 10th and 11th hole, and was able to hit a great shot from 50 yards there.
Looks real dialed in with the wedges. Last one here will be number 7.
It's 7, par 5, back into the wind and up the hill. I was able to hit a kind of off-speed pitching wedge to keep it below the hole, and actually probably one of my better putts all day there.
And Ricky, as you can see kind of with my hair, winds are picking up a bit. How important is it to get on the right side of the draw at these major championships? I mean, it looks like the wind's going to pick up in the afternoon. Guys might have a little bit more trouble.
Well, I mean, we were able to see it, you know, a little bit easier course this morning for sure than what they may face this afternoon. But it could be somewhat similar tomorrow. You know, the course is going to have a chance to really dry out potentially as long as there's no rain. So our afternoon round tomorrow could be on a really different golf course. But right now, yeah, I would say that we're on the better side of the draw. The course is still receptive. You can see, you know, balls are still stopping out there, and not that it's going to be as easy as it was this morning, but there's still plenty of birdies to be had.
Hey, you'll take a 7 under. Historic round of golf to open a U.S. Open. Ricky Fowler, great playing. Back to you, Joe.
Well, it was fun to watch. And Ricky Fowler with his 65 here today. As we go out to number 7 in the third shot of the par 5 for Jordan Spieth. This is not easy.
Joey's got this fairway bunker kind of a little on the toey side of the ball, some sand. You see, couldn't come out cleanly at 80 yards.
Try to get that up and down for par here at 7.
Come on, bud.
Well, the last 6 straight majors have been won by a first-time major champion. It started with Jason Day at the PGA in 2015, the latest Sergio. Ricky Fowler would be number 7. Change his life in the world of golf.
All you got to get the speed in the right spot. All their bodies move correctly. They get their divot on the proper side, but you have to get the speed in the right spot. When a good player gets a little sideways, they start to sling it a little early maybe, but boy, it's Jordan Spieth for par there at 7. Sergio hits it right on the button every single time. I expect to see that again today out of Sergio.
Playing in his 72nd consecutive major.
Tough day for Jordan Spieth on the greens. And on 7 there, his good shot turned out bad. Now this is a tough shot right here. The ball's a little below his feet. It's almost all carried uphill to the hole. The green's uphill. It's got to fly it at least 90% of the way. Wasn't able to do that, but
needing to get that up and down to stay where he is on the leaderboard, which is at 4 under, 3 shots back. Ernie Els, here's his second shot at the par 4 17.
Els managed to make par on 16. Tell you what, the hardest shot in golf is the next shot after a shank, and we laid the sod over that one a little bit here at 17.
Ernie is in the last year of his Open Championship exemption into a U.S. Open. He slipped to 401st in the world. Really playing well at 4 under.
He's playing 53.
Here's Kevin Na, who made headlines at the beginning of the practice week. This is his second shot.
Kevin saw that fescue rough and how thick and deep it was and just freaked out about it. Put out the little 1-minute video on Twitter and took a lot of backlash for it.
Get out.
Ranked number 68 in the world. The second hole of the day.
40 feet, maybe 50.
After bogeying 10. And now at 18. Just a bit earlier, it's J.B. Holmes for birdie to get 3 under.
A nice little comeback. He got it to 4 under right out of the gate and stumbled all the way back to 1 under. That's a good start for J.B. Holmes, who's hitting it well.
Been a while since we've seen Matt Kuchar. Here he is at 8 for birdie as he hovers at 2 over par. And he'll stay there. Felt like, Paul, the golfers were winning in this tug of war between golfer and golf course, and now the golf course here at Erin Hills has been fighting back.
Well, you know, the wind got up and it changes everything. The golf course has teeth, but when the wind comes up, it sharpens them a little bit, and it's starting to bite back now. Ricky Fowler shooting 7 under. Of course, we haven't seen anything like that since Weiskopf and Nicklaus did it years and years ago, 1980.
Lucas Glover now at 17. ...193 yards away. And an uphill putt for birdie.
Shot.
Now for the par save attempt for Patrick Reed.
And a magnificent Ryder Cup, one of the most memorable matches of all times when he played Rory McIlroy. And a lot of times, Joe, the Ryder Cups come before major championships for players. As a player, you think, if I can handle that pressure, I can pretty much handle anything. It's going to be a bogey, though, here at 8 for Patrick Reed. Another drop shot. So moves to -3.
Top 20 player, 3 under, 1 hole left for his opening round, the par 3 ninth. Missed the cut last year at Oakmont, tied for 14th the year before.
A lot of spit and vinegar, that guy, and this guy's a solid player as well.
Francesco Molinari for birdie at 8.
Had a rough day today. It's hard when you're going along 3 or 4 over par, but you're at a U.S. Open course, but you see all these red numbers up on the board. You just wonder how they're doing it.
Ranked number 17 in the world. That gets him to 3 over with 1 to play. 2-time Ryder Cupper, and here is Jordan Spieth.
Got 308 now. Peak of that house there.
2 holes to play as he tries to get it under par.
Now, this is a hard tee shot. The landing area is blind. There's a huge mound on the left. If you hit a hook here, you're not going to get over that mound. Fairway plateaus and then runs towards the hole. Dogleg left, fairway slopes right.
He'll have to finish birdie to shoot 71 and be in the red after the opening round, and a good start here at 8.
And that's just a fabulous tee shot. There's a look at 8 yesterday in the practice rounds. You see where that shortest ball is. Nobody could get past that because of the wind direction. Look at the scores they've made. Blue ones are par, the yellows are double bogey. Just a handful of birdies here at the 8th hole. He's playing 490 yards today, but they've got help. It's made it a lot easier.
Here's Martin Keimer. Two great drives from Spieth and Keimer. As you see the golf ball of Jordan Spieth, Keimer walks on by.
You know, Joe, as much rain as we've had, the golf course is rolling. It's really just the rain's taking the sting out of the greens. No rain in the forecast the next 3 days. This place is about to dry out.
Third shot here at the par 4 for Ernie Els, and that didn't look good as he sits at 4 under.
A little scoopy. It's kind of weird looking that. Out of Ernie Els, the great man, great player. Let's watch this kind of last second little flip shot. Ugh. Yeah, we didn't do him a favor by replaying that one, but that was weird looking. He's got a heck of a round going.
We're under 2 minutes till this grouping goes, and you see the left-handed swing of Bubba Watson, former Masters champions, with Adam Scott, Bubba Watson, Sergio Garcia. A lot of firepower in this group.
Yeah, these guys are all bombers. They can flight the ball virtually any trajectory they want. Bubba and Sergio have that ball leaving on the first floor, but at apex pretty high. And they all have the power to reach this first green and two. The wind's right to left hurting.
It'll be the first time today that we will hear the dulcet tones of Bob Ford, longtime head professional and part of our coverage last year at Oakmont. Also the head professional at one of the best places in the United States, Seminole. And he was the 2017 Bob Jones Award winner that was handed out this week. It's the highest honor the USGA can give out, and it belongs to a classy man. Bob Ford, here he is at 1.
This is the 1:36 starting time. Please welcome from Baghdad, Florida, Bubba Watson.
38-year-old, ranked number 37 in the world now. Two-time winner at Augusta, 2012, 2014 Masters. He's got one top 10 finish in his 10 previous U.S. Open starts.
And from Australia, Adam Scott.
He won at Augusta. That's his one major championship. And as far as U.S. Opens are concerned, 2 top 10s. His best finish tied for 4th at Chambers Bay in 2015. Shot 64 on Sunday.
And from Spain, Sergio Garcia.
So Adam Scott finds the rough on the right side here in the opening par 5, and now Sergio Garcia. 10 PGA Tour wins. He's coming off, at least as far as majors are concerned, a championship at Augusta and the Masters. His best finish in a U.S. Open as he plays in his 18th as a tie for 3rd back in 2005, but he does have 3 top 5s.
He gives you the feeling that he can get himself right in contention here. Loves the course, hits it as solid as anybody in the world.
Oh yeah, they like it. Into the fairway for Sergio Garcia, who is headed down the aisle after the Open Championship. Things are good in his life right now. How will he fare this week at Erin Hills? Now the second shot at 8 for Jordan Spieth.
150 yards left to right crosswind for him right now. Just a 9-iron. Get up on the right.
Okay. Not bad. A good look straight up the hill there.
Here's Ernie at 17 for par.
Well, that tee shot on the par 3 16th, I'm sure, has unnerved Ernie a little bit. Kuchar down the hill at 9. This is really, really fast. Settle. Settle. Okay. Very good.
Only has 1 top 10 in his U.S. Open history. Now it's Keimer at 8.
3 yards closer than Jordan, 147.
For some reason, Keimer was told or felt that he needed to hit a draw. And when he switched to the draw, his game went south. He's back to his cut. It's nice to see him cutting short irons into flags like that.
Patrick Reed is trying to pull it back together. He has this birdie putt here at 9. Make some of the most recent frustration go away and get him to 4 under, 3 shots back. As Paul said earlier, only one top 10 finish in 18 events in 2017, and that came back in January in Maui.
Yeah, and he's really, you can point at one thing. I mean, he may think it's his ball striking. He may not be hitting it as close. He's worked on his ball striking, but when you're one putt higher per day on average, that's a big difference.
Back to 4 under. An opening round of 68. Had success in the state of Minnesota, the U.S. Open, and trying to have success in the state of Wisconsin.
Yeah, he's a player, that guy right there. Back over to the 8th.
This grouping, Paul, is yet to really kick it in. I mean, you come into a U.S. Open, this opening round, and you expect these past 3 U.S. Open champions of Keimer, Spieth, and Dustin Johnson to light it up with favorable conditions, and they really haven't.
Well, Steve Flesch has been down there with them all day, and they just, none of them can get it going, Steve.
You know, and every time one of them seems like they string 2 good shots together, they might 3-putt, or they just haven't made anything on the greens, Paul. So hard to gain any momentum when you just can't finish off the hole. DJ spent his whole day in the long fescue. He's going to have to get somebody to check him for ticks later.
You know, you joke, but it's a serious thing out here.
Yeah, it is. It's an epidemic all over the country. The Lyme disease issues struck the tour. Jimmy Walker's got that going on right now, and man, that can last a lifetime, actually, that Lyme disease. So kind of joke about it, but yeah, he has been in the fescue all day. You get the feeling that he'll straighten it out overnight, come back out tomorrow and play a good solid round. He double bogeyed the 14th hole after 4 good pars to start his day, and he got into the fescue and had a hard time getting out of it.
Paul, you were a shut-faced player. I know DJ plays with a shut face at the top. When you would hit one to the left, did it freak you out a little bit? Because I think ever since early on when DJ hit that ball left, he's been a little unsettled.
Well, you know, great players, every great player has fought a hook at some time in their life. And once you learn to hook it, you can be a pretty decent player. And then you try to never hook it again. And when it's not going well, you can play golf and survive with a philosophy, and that philosophy is, you know, I don't know where it's going, but I know where it's not going, and it's not going left. And maybe he was a little bit caught off guard by that hook, Steve. And you get the 2-way miss going, and then it's all you can do to survive.
The ball is 21 feet down the hill.
Hasn't had great touch on the greens. You know, he could have actually saved this round with a couple of putts, that mid-range zone. It just hasn't happened for him or Spieth.
Back to 1 and Sergio Garcia, second shot at the par 5.
274 yards left, green in range, got to favour the right side a little.
It's the voice of Kent Brown, and wow, goes right by the hole and just off the back. He's in a good spot.
That's the best shot we've seen all day at the first hole. Sergio taking that solid practice round session right to the first tee. Now Bubba, after a colossal tee shot.
What a heck of a lot of run as well. The little downslope to the green, well in range for him. 272 yards. Breeze helping a little bit.
Says he missed it right, and he didn't lie. Better than left, but that's not good up there.
It's going to be at the mercy of wherever that Galler's trampled that grass down. That could be really tough in there. Got a lot of green to work with, but that's about it.
Back to 8, Jordan Spieth.
Just over 16 feet for Jordan.
He hadn't made anything this length all day long until, boy, that's the way it goes. He's played a lot better than you scored today, Steve.
Sure has. Just one ball beautifully. Just really has not had anything go his way.
Everything I can, man.
Missed one little putt on 18 for birdie. It seemed to affect the rest of his round.
He won birdie, 2 bogeys, with 1 to play. Interesting stat. Not broken par in the opening round of a major since the 2016 Masters. That day that was so cruel on hole number 12, and it's just been one of those days for the 23-year-old. Third shot here for Adam Scott. We showed you found the rough on the right side off the tee.
Quite a lot of discussions going on with Steve Williams, his caddy, who does also tournaments each year. 151 yards, wind helping. Bound to get a bit of a skiddy first bounce, and if you go straight at the flag, there's not much room to work with. Downslope beyond the flag.
Well, that's a terrific shot and a brave shot, really, for pole today at a U.S. Open. To fly it in the air past the hole is pretty brave, if you ask me. You don't know for sure if the greens are going to be receptive or not.
How about the Players champion, Si-Woo Kim, for birdie?
Well, he's got one of the best swings in the game, if you ask me. And boy, if ever anybody looked more steady on a bigger moment, a bigger stage than he did at TPC.
Yeah. He knew how to scramble that week. 9 timer.
Joe just 150 yards, but it is about 8 yards downhill. He's got a wedge. Wind is off, but it ever so slightly.
The hole's cut in a tricky spot. We've seen guys hit it close. Have a hard time making the putt. Don't want to miss left here when you got no chance. There's a look at what we got here. 24-foot drop down to this hole. It's one of the coolest looking par 3s in championship golf. And I think it's turned into the signature hole here at the club.
Now DJ.
Hitch a wedge as well for Dustin. I love how the shortest hole on the golf course has caused most of the complaints by the players.
Yes, it has. There you go.
Don't complain about that.
Well, that will have a significant amount of break for a putt of that length. He is going back up the hill.
No, it's northwest. It's not northwest.
That means Spieth is left.
It's a touch more off the road.
Paul and Joe, when you stand up here on the tee, really all you notice is that big swale and drop off to the right. It's kind of staring at you, so you just got to be not suckered into trying to push it too far left, because that's definitely no good, like you said, Paul.
Left is dead here, and 5 feet or 8 feet right pin high is going to roll all the way off the green down into the fescue. This is a very dangerous little shot.
Pitching wedge for Jordan.
Right over the flag stick.
He'll have that to get to even par for this first round and a score of 72. So one of the feature groups, they are winding down their day, just about to get his day started, as we give you a look at our Rolex countdown to the first hole for Rory McIlroy. I'm here to tell you, he feels good. He is hitting the ball brilliantly. One of the guys to watch, no doubt, but feels good coming into this U.S. Open here at Erin Hills. FS1, we will dip into the green here at 9. Martin Kaymer just tapped in for his par. So his day is finished. He started on number 10. He shoots even par, 72.
That's a pretty good save, really. Never really got anything going, and just managed to hang in there. Spieth visibly frustrated. He's hit a lot of good putts. He's hit some poor putts, but he just hasn't been able to putt it in the ocean, honestly. It's been a bad putting day. Tee to green, he's been pretty sharp though, Steve.
He has, Paul, but I think he realizes that everybody's going to have maybe one day where they don't have everything going in a major championship. You're lucky if it's only one, but if he can somehow make this, he shoots even par on the round, and he can chalk this one up to, hey, I didn't get much out of the day, but I didn't really hurt myself either.
Pretty big swing to the left, settle. That's about the length of the one he missed on 18, which I think changed his mood for the day. Really, I felt like from that point on, everything seemed a little bit forced on the greens for Jordan Spieth. Now, Sergio Garcia hit 2 massive shots. Hits the second shot right over the flag here at the first. Has this for eagle. How do you do? What a start for the Masters champion.
Listen to these stats. Last 5 years worldwide for Garcia. 101 events, 6 wins, including the Masters. 39 top 10s, only 5 missed cuts. Played some terrific golf. At the age of 37, he is coming off that win. Majors-wise at Augusta, and off to an eagle start. Now a birdie try for Dustin Johnson.
It's the only eagle of the day at the first. Nice way for Dustin Johnson to finish if he can bury this putt. Just outside the right edge, kind of slow.
11 feet, Paul. I'm sure he's got Butch Harmon on speed dial here. See if he can square it away for tomorrow.
He had a little bit of the two-way miss going. He got possibly unnerved a little bit on 14 when he missed left.
Shoots 75, 3 over. In case you're wondering, for our defending champion, Dustin Johnson, the last time he missed a cut was at the PGA 2016, shot 77-72. That was last year's final major. So our defending champion gonna have to get it squared away. Now Spieth for par and a round of 73. No doubt frustrated.
Well, he hit a lot of good putts that didn't go in, and that'll make you frustrated.
So the 23-year-old will surely head to the practice tee at some point.